It is Monday. It is 8:45 a.m. and I have just returned from a trip into town. One, I needed gas. I worked off of the top half of the tank, not the bottom. So I was a little under half a tank because I have not bought gas since May the 8th, the last time I went to Kingman. I did not see any time in the future, near future, that I was going to be going to Kingman. So I bit the bullet and I went local. It was $5 a gallon. I stopped the pump at about, I think it was $70, and it was around 13 gallons, so whatever that is. More than half the money I had in my account. So that meant there is no going to the store today, except I had a little bit of cash because I sold my dead batteries and they gave me some cash. And I went to mail and more and got the dog food. I mailed my grandson Isaac. It was his birthday on July 5th. I had his present 2 weeks earlier, and I debated on if I should send it or not. And oh my gosh, I didn't even take a picture of it. I'll see if I can get Molly to and send it to me when she gets it, because I sent it priority. It should be there in 2 days. We can hope. So I had to do that. I picked up the dog's food and I went by a thrift store. They're open on Mondays and Wednesdays from 8 to 12. And I don't go to town on Wednesday. That's my Amazon delivery day. So I go on Thursdays and I miss it. So this time I left both dogs at home because it's already up in the 90s, I'm sure. It was very hot. And so I went in a hurry to the thrift store, and I am so excited to show you what I got. This was the bag they gave me to put my goodies in. But before I go there, I want to address a comment that I saw, and then when I went to find it, I couldn't find it. I don't know what video it was on exactly, but someone suggested that I drive into town to find a cool place because it's dangerous out here. Well, not in my little tiny shed. This is my safe place. And as long as I have water running, I have a swamp cooler that I have to turn off at different times during the morning and the afternoon because I get cold. Or I just put on a sweater. But I generally have, this window is open a little and the front door is open. So that kind of keeps the air moving, because if I close it up, it's too cold. Now, why don't I go into town? Because it's an hour. It takes me about 20 minutes to get there, and then at least 20 minutes to get back. And the question would be, if I'm going to where it's cool, what's going to happen to my dogs if I leave them here with nothing? So that's not happening. And there are places, of course, but as long as I have power, and I don't lose power. I have low power and I have to juggle some of my charging of stuff. But I always make sure I got enough to run the swamp cooler. And as long as the sun is shining, it's basically running off of the power of the sun, because the batteries, I very rarely actually use the batteries themselves, um, just to preserve the battery. But I don't need a swamp cooler at night most of the time, so that's okay. So that is my response to that comment. I know that y'all have left a lot of comments. I read them. My state of mind for a week was so bad that I couldn't, I did not want to try and talk to people, not in voice or in typing, because I'm just not thinking right. And it's a panic, being in a panic. And I still don't have hot water at the wash house. I did receive an extreme heat warning last night or this morning, I'm not sure, but it goes through the 17th. And I think they send those out if the temperatures are going to be over 100. So in 2 or 3 days, the water is already getting warm. And see, I'm in here. I don't know. I don't feel that heat when I'm inside. So I would have to go out and do some work and get all hot and sweaty to appreciate a very cool shower, which is what it would be. However, with all of the heat coming in, which I would just like to point out that my skies were sprayed nearly every day in the winter. I would I longed for the sun to warm up me and my place, and there was none, because the planes would just, and y'all saw it. As soon as summer hit, I see nothing, unless there's a big storm coming, and then you'll see a few. But if there's no storm coming through Arizona, they're just, so they're cooling off things only works apparently in the winter. They don't do it in the summer when I could really use it. It's a crazy world. It's a crazy world. And you know what? Here's my buddy. We are almost home. We're so close. We're so close. And I'm going to leave you a link to a very long video that will, it's about an hour. So I want you to sit down and listen, because it gets really, really good about halfway through. And it is prophecy being fulfilled in our lifetime. I do believe we're seeing revelation being played out right in front of us. And I know I'm supposed to be sad and dismayed. I'm not. Because all the years we've been praying, thy kingdom come, I think it's happening. So, here, oh my goodness, I need to address this too. I just got a comment, something about the dress. I did not make that dress. I bought that dress with it was a monetary gift from a friend. And I was like, I know I don't really need a dress, but I want this dress. And you know what they said? Get the dress. So I got the dress, and I love it. It is very comfortable. I can't do work in it because I'm going to get stuck in a cactus somewhere. But it is, for the most part, I can wear it, and it's linen. I did have to adjust it. That's what I have to do because of my shape. So it's already, by the time you saw it, it was altered to fit properly. Okay. Speaking of making things, I went there on purpose. because I knew they had a big bucket of knitting needles, but I had never really gone through them because they were aluminum and I've got plenty of knitting needles. What I didn't have were these. This, I always saw them and thought, what are they doing with that? Why is there an end on a crochet hook and why is it so long? There is a crochet technique. I have 3 sizes. One of them is so old that it doesn't have a number, it's got a letter and something else on it. But they were like a quarter a piece, where you're going to spend more than that. And when I'm trying out something new, because my brain needs some exercise, I'm going to try something new called Tunisian, Tunisian, Tunisian crochet. And you literally, you go across and then you knit backward. Well, you kind of knit the stitches backwards. So you go forward and then backwards and forward, all on the same needle. And I am going to learn how to do it. Give my brain some exercise and find something very practical, because that's what I do. I need something practical. A blanket for my chair so it's soft on my bottom. It goes all the way over, and turns out made a good shawl in an emergency. Okay, this is what I went for and found 3 sizes to work with. And then I thought I'll just have a look see. So the first thing I found was this piece of fabric. It's just muslin, and it's just enough to make me a slip. And I thought, wow, let's see. It's about a yard. It's a yard. I measure it like this to my arm stretched out. So there's a yard. It's about a yard and a half, enough to make a skirt. I'm so excited. Not a skirt. I need a slip under those linen dresses. I had to wait until the sun was just right. And that was what Bob and I used to call the golden hour. That last video on Monday. Now, in my looking around on all the little crafting and stuff, and I found that fabric, and y'all, look what I found. What I spotted was this work here. I know that's antique. My mother-in-law gave me many, many towels, hand towels. Look how big it is. And what they did, these were for their hope chest. Now, the ones I had a bee on them. And she would embroider this beautiful bee, white on white, and then the other side would be hand stitched. I think this is just, is it? No, it's like pulled thread work. I think it will make a slip. And I am about 75% sure it's either linen or it's cotton. And when something is this old, it's really kind of hard to tell because the softness of it. Now, I know they use these for towels back in the day. My mother-in-law, my past mother-in-law, she was married in like 1932, 31, something like that. And these were a part of her hope chest. And of course, I divvied all that up and gave it to the girls when I broke up my housekeeping. Oh, and because you can never have enough, I bought yarn. Doesn't need a label because it's the perfect color to make a doll. And I'm thinking I am envisioning a bigger doll. You know, my little amigurumi dolls that I make that are little. I'm thinking make one that's kind of big and see what happens. Because I am going to be spending a lot of time inside while I wait for the summer to pass. And speaking of waiting, at 9 o'clock this morning, which it's early Arizona time, businesses don't generally get started that early for whatever reason. Anyway, I have not heard from the title company. Now, if before I get this video processed and ready for y'all, if I get any kind of information, I will pass that on too. But for now, we're going to call it an update on Betty going out into the big world all by herself without her dogs. And all that I accomplished. So I feel pretty good. I'm relieved that it's done and everybody's safe and in the cool. And we have water to drink. So we're good. I hope y'all have a good week. I love y'all. Uh, I'm in, I'm a. Um,
Yeah. May the road rise to meet you and the sun kiss your face. May there always be a miracle waiting just to bless your day. Life won't always hand you roses. Don't let it get you down. Keep your eyes on what your goal is and your feet on solid ground. Take this with you where you go. You are love, love, love.